You didn't actually think I'd go through the trouble of making her play through Dark Souls 1 again and not have her do the DLC this time, did you? Since her last file was thrust straight into New Game Plus, there was really no choice but to start a fresh game. I knew it would be too fun of a playthrough to not share with everyone, but the plan was always to eventually send her back in time through the DLC.
What is this? What?
Despite defeating Gwyn at the end of the last video, I had her take a detour through Ulasil and made my girlfriend play through the Artorias of the Abyss DLC. For starters, can you really blame anyone for missing this DLC on their first time through the game? Dark Souls is known for its obscure storytelling, but accessing the Artorias of the Abyss DLC is pushing it. Even I had no idea where to start looking. The cryptic clues that point the player in the direction of Ulasil aren't much help, but luckily she wasn't playing alone this time.
Yes. Oh my god, yes.
You're gonna have to run all the way to that stupid port.
God, I do not want to have to do that. Hey, look, there's you!
Oh my god, that's so funny.
I don't know how they ever expected you to make the connection that the golem in the archives holds the DLC key, or that you'd need to bring it back to that one obscure spot behind the waterfall. With all the quitting out and running back and forth I was having her do, it was very reminiscent of the kid on the playground whose dad worked for Nintendo back in the day. Luckily for her, my dad is Miyazaki, so when all was said and done, there was a portal to access the DLC, and there was a Mew under that truck. This DLC wastes no time showing you what it's all about, and it throws a boss fight at you right off the bat.
Oh my god, it's a boss fight already.
The Sanctuary Guardian was probably her first hint that these DLC bosses were going to be a real step up from the four lords from the base game. Not only was it a lot faster, but it was aggressive too. The only real saving grace was her gigantic hammer, which cleaved off big chunks of health with each hit. It was just a matter of getting close enough to land a hit without getting zapped by lightning.
Ow.
Once she overcame the Manticore, she was finally ready to properly explore the DLC. After making it through the Sanctuary, it was time for the big reveal.
Whoa, this is so cute! Oh, I love this!
Having a sense of deja vu, she put together that she'd been there before.
Whoa, look at this.
The Royal Wood is actually Darkroot Garden, or as she was calling it, Lightroot Garden.
I would love like a fairy tale Dark Souls game. Or it's just light
You
and
want
happy.
you want high fantasy instead of dark fantasy.
Yeah!
In the base game, you work your way through Darkroot Garden to the Grave of Artorias, but in the DLC, you do it backwards, starting at what will be the grave and making your way to the basin, which yes, means that this is in fact the past.
Look at how green this grass is. Am I in Dark Souls?
It's funny because for me, I picked up right away this was a reused area. She's a lot easier to please than me because all it takes is turning the lights on and it may as well be a completely different environment.
There's little mushrooms.
The thing that actually gave it away for her was the bridge. She recognized it as the one to the Sif boss fight.
This is totally like, I'm going backwards as if I was like going away from Sif.
Having the confidence of stomping through the base game at her back, she stormed her way through most of the enemies the game could throw at her. As the big fish in a small pond, she was quick to assert her dominance over the local fauna.
These flowers are really pretty, aren't they?
They're so pretty.
We're on a date.
We're on a date. We're on a date.
She's been running a heavy build, and let's just say she knew how to throw her weight around.
It's like hard to appreciate all the cuteness when things are trying to kill me. But I'm trying, damn it.
Even the Stone Knights, who could take a hit, were no match for her and her 40 strength. But it was only a matter of time until she found a fish that was bigger than she was.
Oh my god! Ha! Hello! Are you friendly?
And the first of many was right around the corner.
What the fuck? Oh my god. Shit. He's fast. And I'm not.
She figured out really quickly that this wasn't going to be a boss where mistakes could be made. There's just not enough time to drink Estus, and even when you get an opening, she was so much better off hitting him with the hammer instead. The need to heal was less urgent than the need to roll and stay alive.
Oh. Really?
The more I think about it, the more I start to believe that beginners should give heavy weapons a chance when they're trying to learn to play these games. It's always been a bit of a joke how much she enjoys using her heavy builds, but I really noticed some interesting things with this playthrough of the DLC. It's all about finding your opening to punish, and with a slower build, you really get to know which attacks are safe and which ones aren't. She always had to hunt for that perfect window where she could sneak a hit in, and that meant she got really good at dodging. It's no wonder she used so little Estus on boss fights.
Really? I rolled dirt.
With a big weapon, you've got plenty of practice timing your rolls and learning the patterns while you wait for those big punishers. The stamina bar becomes much more of a commodity, and committing to that second swing is almost never worth it. So you end up learning to be patient and wait your turn.
No! One hit away.
Along with developing great stamina management, you get to have fun swinging around something twice your size. It's always been the case that she gravitated towards those weapons on her own, but I think the next time I'm giving advice to a Souls beginner, I'll steer them towards the big, slow weapons. Although, maybe not the one that's as obstructive to your vision as her first choice was.
Just take your time, Tarny.
Interesting.
Shh. I have a really good attempt going. I got him! I
Nice
got him!
job, Tarny.
Woo!
Tarn's like, don't make peep while I'm doing business with Artorias over
Yeah, I was like, you're looking shit up. It doesn't fucking matter compared to this.
here. None of this matters.
I took one sip of Estus that whole fight.
And now, Smo's hammer has crushed 2 of Gwyn's knights. Following her battle with Artorias, she gained access to the Battle of Stoicism. This opened the door for us to finally settle the score with some PvP. It's the ultimate battle between the light and heavy builds. Who will win? Ornstein versus Smo.
Whoa. And the soul still burns.
Electric toothbrush, I'm scared.
Oh my god! What are you trying to Estus for?
Ah shit, I forgot there was an Estus. See, you're like faster in every way. This is bullshit.
What? Wow.
Sit down.
Spears are meant for stabbing.
God damn it, you just ran right off the stairs.
That was awesome.
Well, I did fall off.
Whee! Oh, you made a mistake. Oh, what?
Did you just grab the titty?
Look at this window.
That's such a funny window.
I can see you. Can you see me?
Oh, hi.
Hello.
Oh my god.
I wasn't sure if that was gonna work. It did.
We're gonna try mine. Come back to the window.
30 seconds remain.
Get back to the window.
Alright, I'm going back to the window. But I didn't tell you which side. Oh, she's still alive. She's still
She's
alive.
pissed.
There's only one thing I can do.
What the fuck is that?
No.
He's not still alive.
With our multiplayer shenanigans out of the way, it was about time she got back to exploring Ulasil and rescuing Dusk.
I just killed 3 of these guys at the same time and their buddy just turned around and was like, you know what, I'm out of here. Wow, that guy was just whipping it out before I even got here. Really? Do you see my souls up there? They're 0, but they're up there. That's how we deal with mimics.
With the key in hand, the next one on her hit list was Black Dragon Kalamit. She actually found Kalamit earlier, but wasn't really sure what to do with him.
I still died.
But that would all change when she met the 4th Knight of Gwyn.
Hello!
Black dragon posing the duress?
Yes! How'd you know?
Yes. Now, watch and see how Goth hunts dragons.
Oh, Goff's gonna hunt the dragon.
Kalameet has a lot of similarities to Midir. Not only are they both optional dragon fights in their respective DLCs, but they're also both extremely cool black dragons. On top of them both being injured before your main fight, they also have you wading through ankle-deep water during most of the encounter.
Aggro!
While they share a lot of similarities in their presentation, mechanically they couldn't be more different. Where she wanted to stick to hitting Midir's head, she found she was much better off hitting Kalameet's feet. When Midir breathed fire, she ran right, but when Kalameet did it, she had to go left. Needless to say, she learned the hard way that fighting Kalameet like he was Midir was a big mistake.
Ow. Let's do this.
He's so much smarter than you.
So smart.
He's smarter than you, Taryn. I love the like, here we go, and then he just takes off flying.
Well,
He's like, that's what you get for trying to cheese me.
yeah. Don't know what that does besides hurt my ears.
I'm glad you got him, because I didn't die for nothing.
You just walked off the edge.
I was so busy watching your fight that I walked like straight off the edge of the thing I was watching. That was a good fight though. That was fun to watch. You were down to
Thank
you
you.
had no Estes like that
No
was,
Estes, nothing. But he didn't give me any soul. Oh, there they are. The arrow! Thank you, Goff!
Thou hast defeated Kalameet?
Yes, and I brought your arrow back. Thank you for helping me.
There's one more boss waiting for her at the deepest depths of the DLC, but if she wants to fight him, she's gonna have to take the plunge.
Was Sif that big when... No, Sif. Sif. I always combine Sif. I just say Sif, and that means Seath and Sif. It depends on my mental image of which I'm talking about. But, okay, was Sif... No, Sif. Was Sif that big when Artorias was alive?
Did you even rescue Sif yet?
Sif! Hello, buddy. He's got Artorias' sword. Don't make me kill you.
With that out of the way, there's only one thing left to do.
Oh, shit. I'm scared.
It was looking like Manus would meet the same fate of getting bonked like all the other DLC bosses. But there was one thing neither of us were prepared for: the silver pendant.
So there's just no waiting. I just need to spam it the second I get it out.
I've fought Manus without it before, but nowadays I pretty much consider it essential to fighting it. Not to mention, she managed to solve the illusory light wall in Ulasil, so it shouldn't have been a problem, right?
Good lord. That one, I don't even need to switch. I just need to dodge. The thing is, you can't tell what he's gonna do.
I think other than the music box in Bloodborne, which is optional, this is one of the only fights that requires you to use a hotbar item in the fight. To be fair, it's not actually a requirement, but it may as well be. The silver pendant is an interesting mechanic that adds some flair to the final fight, but I'll admit it's a bit of an odd choice. It never stood out to me as much as it did than when watching my girlfriend try using it.
What? Do you see how close close I was.
She really struggled with switching between items in the middle of fighting. Either she wasn't fast enough or she would use the wrong item by mistake. Plenty of great attempts on Manus ended in tragedy when she'd sip her Estus instead of using the pendant. As someone who never had a hard time using the pendant, I never thought much of it. Although having seen her handle the game so comfortably up until now, I realized how little the game prepares you for something like this.
And then somehow in the middle of that, I like unequipped my weapon. I'm not entirely sure what's going on.
The number of times she used something on her bar other than Estus was close to 0.
Thank you.
And that's for a good reason. Thinking about which item she had selected was never something she was good at, and so she preferred to always have it be set to heal. As far as she's concerned, that's not the use button, it's the Estus button.
Okay, shit. I had the pendant on, I was trying to drink, I did a yellow. It's all good.
As awkward as it feels though, practice makes perfect. As usual, the solution to everything in these games is to always keep trying.
Yes! Yes! Ah! I did it! I got a humanity.
Well, there you have it. The boy gets the girl. And the other girl.
10 humanities. Let's go. And a princess. I got 2 princesses now.
Oh wait, this wasn't my playthrough. The girl gets the girl, and successfully rescued the princess.
Oh yeah, what's up? I'm wearing your crown. Are you okay? I saved you. Is she okay?
Now she can finally say she's conquered Dark Souls 1.